What's up everybody and welcome to another video. I'm Rich Wilson, founder and filmmaker at Vibe Media, where we help your brand build to an influencer level online presence using filmmaking tools and tips to tell your story. Well, we have another movie challenge for you today, and it is probably one of the greatest movies of all time, well, in my humble opinion. It's the Francis Ford Coppola's greatest trilogy, The Godfather. Now we're talking about just the first Godfather in this one, but we touch a little bit on the other two movies as well. We are really super excited. Forrest and I did see it. Dana has never seen it, so you'll get some pretty cool reactions from her in this episode. So I should probably stop talking and take the cannolis with me while we sit back and get on with the episode. Hey everybody, welcome to Vibe Check, the show for filmmakers and film enthusiasts. I'm Rich Wilson, founder and filmmaker at Vibe Media. We've got Dana, our producer, our content producer, and also Forrest, cinematographer, camera guy, etc., etc. But all of us love movies. Yes. So that's why we have this show, because we love movies, we love talking about them, we love kind of doing some breakdowns on just our own experiences and what we like. And today is another movie challenge. That's right.
We need a soundboard.
Right. So we like to challenge each other on movies that we not necessarily have seen. Some of us have never seen these types of movies, or maybe movies that are just like, we haven't seen in a while, but we want to really have a new, fresh perspective on it. And kind of this theme of this movie challenge is kind of like dramas. We talked about Perfect Blue a couple episodes ago. Fantastic, animated movie. Very different than some of the other movies that we have talked about.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, indeed. And now it's time for my challenge, and I challenged you guys to watch The Godfather. Probably one of the greatest dramas, movies out there. In my personal opinion, it's just fantastic storytelling, and Dana's never seen it, so, and it's been a while since both of us seen it, so it was nice to refresh the memories on that. And actually, this time around, I'll admit, when I watched it, I definitely looked at it in a very different perspective, since we've been doing these shows. So I even got even more out of it this time around than in the past, where I just watched it for just pure entertainment. But so Godfather, amazing.
It was really good. It was better than I was expecting it to be, because I was like, oh, I gotta watch The Godfather. It's 3 hours.
It is a long movie.
And
it's a long movie.
I'm a girl. Like, I don't like, those kinds of mob movies, but I actually really did like.
You don't like mob movies.
That's not true at all, though, because the first screenplay I wrote was a mob screenplay.
Funny.
Oh my god!
I was gonna say, have you rewatched the movies that you had us watch, and you were concerned about this one?
No, I thought it was just gonna be boring. That was my biggest issue. I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be so much
enough
exposition.
To keep you.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on where it's like, oh, I actually have to pay attention to people's names, and like
it's Game of Thrones in 3 hours. It's like this family and this family and this, but it's like the multiple families and figuring out everything.
Who's Salazzo? Like who's Santino? Sonny? What's going on? But yeah, I thought it was really great. I obviously got some of like the classic tropes from it, like the oranges are a sign that someone's gonna die. What was some of the other stuff? We talked about this the other night, and I'm totally just drawing a blank on it.
Well, no, it's an incredible story. Well, it's a fantastic movie about storytelling, and it's definitely a family story. It's not a family movie by any means. Don't get me wrong, but it's a story.
Not family rated. Yeah, it's
a story about family, about loyalty, and it was done in such an incredible way. And for me, like, everything works out in this movie. It all comes together from the camera work to the acting, to the lighting, the colors that they used. Like gosh, the cast in this is just incredible. You have the great Marlon Brando playing Vito Corleone, and it's just, oh my gosh, performance not of a lifetime, his lifetime, because he's got fantastic performances throughout his career, but
one of the greatest characters brought to screen.
Absolutely.
That's a good impression. I loved it. My only thing with it is I just wish maybe, obviously it's such an old movie, I wish the camera work was a little bit cleaner. Because there were some scenes where it's like he's very dark. Out of shot. What's going on? I can't tell who's being spoken to. I told you this. When they're moving the hospital bed, the way they have it set, I'm like, you guys really should have reshot this, because Marlon Brando's hand gets stuck in the door, and you see him when he's supposed to be asleep pull it out. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, like that would have been like a 5-minute. Yeah. But I mean, I thought it was really great. I loved the transition from everything from Michael coming home and, having to rejoin the family and doing what he had to do to the police captain and to Salazzo, and, having to go to Italy and being, betrayed in Italy and getting married and falling in love and then having to go back and doing it all over again. And my only I actually have 2 issues with it. I wish they would have explained what time it was, the year. They have a lot of exposition with newspapers and storytelling, but they don't ever specify what time it is. But that's why. But like when he's like, oh, I've been back a year, and it's like, no, you weren't. I just saw your first wife die in the last scene. Right. You have not been back a year.
There's a lot of time jumping.
And then he's got a kid all of a sudden that's like a toddler. Yeah,
there's a lot of time jumping in this movie from the very beginning.
Questioning film logic, which we all know.
They did a lot of exposition, with the massacre and like the gang fighting. They could have taken a little bit more exposition time and just clarified what year it was. Just even a little like blip.
Or split this movie into a different one, and then could have had Godfather 2 become 3 and 3 become 4.
We could have had 5 Godfather movies.
But I could understand that, because I was even thinking about that last night. Well, not last night, yesterday, when I was rewatching it to kind of have it fresh in my mind. Where he tells them that, like, okay, you're going to have to be in Italy for a year. And
he's still got a black eye.
He's still got a black eye, like in half the scenes. Exactly. It's like, holy crud! Like, I know he broke your jaw, and like in that scene, you could see him just like not really. But it wasn't even that bruised. In that scene. But then he still has it. How long has he been there? It seemed like months. Like, holy crud! Was he punched again?
It honestly seemed like a 6-week time span between him doing that and then walking on the hill and meeting Apollonia, yeah. And then like her dying because his eye is still black in that scene. Right,
exactly.
And you only see that it's fully healed when he's apparently been back
for a year or maybe longer.
I have a lot of issues with this movie, but it's good. It's such a good story at the heart of it. Right. And I've played the video game, so I've got respect for that too. Yeah.
It's got some respect from
It's got my respect from the video game, yes.
But I think it was just really brilliantly done. I think that, there's not, from what I noticed, there's not a lot of artificial lighting in this. A lot of it is very natural lighting. Even in the darker scenes, you could really see a lot of the contrast. You could see a lot of the Rembrandt type of lighting, where it's very dark on one side. You kind of see the little Rembrandt triangle, which you look it up. That's whole film again. Yes. Cinematography logic there. But it's incredible. There's a lot of suspense. The music the acting is great. The cast is just amazing.
Poor Enzo.
Right?
He just wanted to thank him and give him flowers.
Yes. But there's so many great actors in this. Like we talked about Marlon Brando, but obviously Al Pacino. Come on.
Is that Michael?
Michael is Al Pacino.
I didn't know that.
That is Al Pacino.
I was like, who's that handsome Ralph Macchio lookalike?
So, it's Al Pacino. And then also his brother, or his adopted brother, Tom is Robert Duvall.
I see. I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Adrian in there from the Rocky movies.
Poor Connie too.
Also, totally forget her name, her actual name.
Her actual name.
The actress's name.
Don't know her.
Yeah, but also like even in the trilogy, as you come to watch it more and more, there's other great big actors that Robert De Niro plays a young Vito in the second one. Andy Garcia is in the third one. Fantastic. Like you see all these actors that you grow to
I'm
love.
sure Machete's in there somewhere.
Yes,
probably.
Somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
Psych.
Yeah. So it's a great movie. I love just the very sepia toned coloring in this movie.
Well, the director just does such a great job in putting you into this world with them. Where, like, because I was watching this at work, and I was just, like, so invested in it. I was like, Rodney, you can sell concessions. I'm too busy on this. But it's so enthralling, and, like, you don't see movies like that nowadays, especially about this subject matter, about, like, mobs and mafia and family and, like, loyalty and respect and having, like, a certain code that you have to follow, or else, you're swimming with the fishes.
Yeah.
They just show so much complexity in such like a short span of time, even though it is like still 3 hours. I feel like he really cut out a lot. Like you can kind of tell there's like certain parts of the story that feel like it's missing that he delved into, and it just had to be cut.
Yeah, I feel like probably the first and we could even look this up, and I hidden myself for not looking this up. I'm sure like the first cut of this was probably like 6 hours long or something.
And I would watch it. Yeah. I would watch all of it, but maybe more in like HBO special style where it's like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Well, it's called The Sopranos.
No.
And that was 10 seasons.
Yeah.
Sopranos is different. I don't like the Sopranos storyline. I like the Godfather storyline.
Yes,
I like that storyline much better.
but it's like you're pretty much talking about Sopranos.
No,
turning the Godfather into Sopranos.
Sopranos is too
episodic.
Modern.
Yeah,
I like the timepiece of Godfather. I don't like the modern.
Sopranos. Well, it was definitely set in that era where like 40s, 50s, where it was like the mob heyday, like the golden age of mobsters.
Well, there was like the Valentine's Day massacre that had just occurred around that time period, and the cops were really trying to crack down on this crime, but then you also had politicians involved, with ties to them because they've got shady pasts, and then you also see them talk about bringing drugs into like the industry, and that they don't want to do that because they've got morals.
Yeah.
Like,
literally, the whole thing could have been resolved if they just took the drugs.
But they had to stand by their
loyalty. If they just
did it. I know,
but he didn't want to. That's true. That's how it should have ended.
Yeah.
There you go.
What was his issue with that? Why didn't I know he explained it? But
well, he said it was he just felt it was too dangerous.
Yeah.
It
would ruin his relationships with other.
Which I could also see at the time because that's kind of what ended up happening with a lot of the people who were involved with the drug stuff. They all ended up dead.
Right. And so that's what his concern was. And that's why Vito was like, you know what? Yes, it would be incredible and it would make us tons of money, but
there's no respect in it.
There's no respect in it. And ethically, which is funny coming from a mobster, ethically, no.
The whole ethics thing is hilarious because you see Sonny, who's like very disrespectful to women, but then the second his sister gets disrespected, since she's family, it's like no. But it's only because she's family. If it was any other woman, wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, their ethics are backwards, but they are like true to what they stand by.
They're true Sicilians.
Yeah. It was. I don't know if this is an offensive term, but was guineas supposed to be like a racial slur for Italians back then?
In that era, yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Because I just kept thinking guinea pigs the whole time. Like, so cute.
I love it. I think it's had a good influence on. I've seen the movie before, so for me, it's you come to me on the day of vibe filming and you ask me my opinion.
Come to me on the day of my film podcast.
it's great that this is so ingrained in culture, because not only has that, you know, the whole "you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding," that's in several things in pop culture, but then
even as recent as Zootopia.
But then you also see the
Family
influence.
Guy, actually, they
Family
just did an
Guy,
episode.
yeah.
But then you also see the influence of this into other films that came out, like The Departed. The Departed is
Goodfellas.
pretty
Love that
much
movie.
an exact replica of this, where it's like the double crossing and the like this family for this family, and this person is related to this person, and
But
they're
it's
all
a little bit more detailed, and it's Irish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's the
Another great
same.
movie.
But yeah, they got Jack Nicholson instead of Robert De Niro. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's the same vibe though, as far as that loyalty and that blood is not always thicker than water.
Yeah.
Like sometimes water is more important than having that blood relationship. It's, well, not only that, it's who's looking out for your own well-being as well, because your family doesn't always have your best interests in mind either. It's you know, they may think that they do, but they're not doing it in the right way.
But the problem
whereas
is
somebody else
their
can.
main interest isn't always in the individual, it's in the family and whole.
Right,
So
well-
if they got to lose a few along the way to keep them still all together, they'll do that.
Right. Well, and look at the dynamics between like Michael and Sonny. You know, Sonny, you know, everybody was like, yeah, Sonny is like the oldest, and he'll probably
He's
be
a hothead.
But he's a hothead. You know, he'll fly at the seat of his pants. And well, what happened? You know, like,
To be fair, though, that was Carlo's fault, and Carlo deserved
True.
the beating that he got.
absolutely. But remember, Carlo knew how this. And here's what I wonder is exactly when did Massini approach Carlo? Was it before the wedding, or was it sometime? It had to have been after, if it was the whole.
It
was
would
a
have been
drug
after.
thing. But like the beating starting, you know, and getting the blood boiling, like holy crud.
I think it was after he got beat, because all of that drama with Salazzo, however you say it, didn't happen until like right up leading to that moment.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like, okay, F you guys. Like, you clearly don't want me a part of the family. I'm going to go join someone else and be loyal to somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, and this is another film too that goes from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, you know, at the beginning, again, it is a slow burn. It's a long movie. It's a lot of exposition at the beginning. And then once the action starts with the time hops and everything too, it's just like this and this and this. It's the domino effect, like right away with everything back to back. So
Yeah.
it's always interesting that they bombard you with everything all at once after they set up all these dominoes perfectly in place. They're like, oh, well, we're just going to do that. And then it just, yeah.
It's just such a fluid movement between it all, too. Like, it makes sense that, like, okay, Michael needs to go and stay in Italy for a year and hide. But also, like, why was he betrayed when he was there? Why did Apollonia have to die? Like,
Right.
you know,
It's
and then
all
what was
because-
his reaction after that? That's what I
Well, he
was
probably ran towards that guy and.
But
caught
it's
him.
again,
And yeah, exactly.
So
Like,
it's
he probably.
it's again that never-ending circle until the point where the one mafia guy has to say, you know what? I'm going to not go after his son. I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to not go after his son so we can all figure out what to do next.
But-
that's him working with the other families and ending that vicious cycle
It seemed
in a way.
like that. But it was really just slowly building up to what Michael was going to do, because he even told Michael, he's like, Barzini or whatever, he's gonna set up a meeting with someone you really trust, and you're gonna be assassinated, and that's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Even, and that couldn't have been more than 3-4 years after that whole meeting happened.
Right.
Because then he started getting really sick.
And then it happens.
Yeah.
Which
you just see this plan that, like, Vito basically kind of planted in his head, like, you have to take care of this before they take care of you.
Exactly, and that's what happened. And what kind of? Here's the thing: it's like total dead giveaway. I'm literally burying my father right now, and you're coming to me and saying that he wants a meeting.
It's very clear.
It's very clear something is up. Like,
Yeah.
he is right here in the casket, and we're 10 minutes away from lowering him into the ground, and you're like, hey, Bassini wants a meeting. He wants to take care of all of this. And it's like, okay.
You're
Rat.
all dead.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was funny. I mean,
Rat
you bring
bastard.
that
Yeah,
up, but, like,
pretty
Vito was also taking care of business at the wedding. So, I mean, just because
True.
it might be, like, a moment in time like that, like, business is business. It's got to be
Yes,
taken
yeah.
care of right then and there.
Which
Which is what they did.
Yeah.
He literally was just like, wrap it up. It's over for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing to my father's grave, no.
Yeah.
I also loved the ending shot where he lied to Kay. And he's like, no, I didn't kill Carlo.
Well,
he
didn't.
He didn't kill Carlo.
He didn't. He just sent him away.
Yeah,
he put him on a plane.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
to a farm upstate.
Yeah,
like your dog.
The only thing that he technically saw in a court of law, the only thing that he technically saw is he put him in a car to go to the airport.
Yep.
And that's the last time he saw him.
And I love that they bring stuff up like that in such a subtle way. Like when Kay went to go bring Tom Hagen the letter, and he's like, Kay, if I take that, then I legally know
where he is.
Yeah, you're tying me to his whereabouts.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, shit. I didn't think about that.
Exactly.
But that's the mafia. Like, they have
That's
to
the
think 10 steps.
consigliere.
It's human chess. They're all playing human chess. It's a 5-way
Well,
chess
I mean,
match.
they also have a really strong ethics code when it comes to secrecy and it comes to loyalty. Like, they have this thing called omerta, where if you speak against anyone in the family, it's over. Like, you have a 95% chance of dying that night.
It's funny because they have that, but they also have the opposite, like, respect towards some of the other leaders. Like, they have that mutual respect of, like, we both have power, so we're not going to get into it.
It's like tiptoeing the line.
All of our minions are going to do it. Like, they fight each other in a weird way.
It's a Charles Manson kind of way.
Well, they fight each other psychologically more so with their family members than they do directly. Because, like, you could just have the leader of this family go and shoot the leader of the other family, but
just
they don't do that.
They
do
refuse.
that. Yeah, they do the, oh, I'm going to kill your son, and then I'm going to kill your bodyguard, and then I'm going to do this, and then...
It was a son for a son, though, so they were able to settle it. But I think
with a, piss poor hug.
Yeah, so weird. I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, like it is like an eye for an eye kind of situation. They will respect each other and stay out of each other's way until someone, whether it is a leader or whether it is, just a meathead who crosses that line and oversteps his boundaries. Okay, well then it's just going to be a full-out war.
You see the same thing, though, in the John Wick series with the
Yeah,
assassins.
absolutely.
The assassins code is very similar to the mafia code as far as, like, you don't mess with me. I'm not going to mess with you, especially on this
You
round.
don't kill my dog. Yeah. I'm killing everybody.
It's inspiration for future movies. And again, it's like what we talked about in the staples. This was definitely a movie staple when it came to just great storytelling, but just also the impact it's had on inspiration of other type of movies with its tropes and its
pop culture and somebody's celebrity careers. It's launched so many things. It's kind of that crosshair of what we were talking about, where there's certain focus on celebrity, certain focus on genre, certain focus on story. This one kind of changed the direction of 3 things at once, where it started having that cultural impact. And this
and then because some of these actors were in this movie with the great Marlon Brando, led on to other things. Al Pacino.
Scarface.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, which is a remake of Scarface.
Yes, but just look.
His version is the most
also
notable.
Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall was fairly unknown until he was in this movie, and because he was in this movie, he went on to do so many other movies, and especially in the the modern westerns.
Robert Duvall.
Oh yeah, Lonesome Dove. Anybody? Gus McCrae. Come on.
But think about as well the other major impact of just how this movie connects everybody in such weird ways. That it's going back to what we talked about with Time Code and all these other movies. They do the same thing. They connect everybody in these weird webs. And this was kind of the first movie to really do that, to make like a complicated story with several characters that are all related in weird ways. That kind of transcended and inspired other movies to start doing the same thing.
Yeah, like when they're talking, they're like, oh, well, the Turk is connected to Talia, and Talia is connected to Barzini, and so on and so forth. And it's just like, oh my goodness, hang on a second.
Pen and paper. Pen and paper.
Like, I need a flowchart.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not Italian. There's a lot of
You're Charlie and Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the strings on the board.
Well, come on over here. Come on over here and learn something. You may have to cook for 12 guys, one of these days.
I hope not.
It's so funny. Yeah. It's like, you gotta take your meatballs.
Yeah. It did make me want pasta really bad after. So bad.
So, final thoughts.
I liked it a lot. I'll probably watch the other 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
2 is good, probably the best. 3, not so much. But
It's good, but it wasn't best of the trilogy.
I think 2 is the best.
It's Godfather Part 2 and Empire Strikes Back are probably the 2 like greatest sequels
that are
What's
better
the one
than
where
the original.
they kiss? I know there's one where there's like a
It's
big
the
dramatic
second one.
Second one? Okay,
it's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, because I was kind of hoping to see that in the first one.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
was
in
a
the
little
second
bummed.
one, and that's a powerful scene.
Yeah.
Such a powerful scene. Once you watch the movie, you'll
And see, that's what I mean. Like despite having seen it, like I know all like the big tropes from it, like the oranges and the kiss and any other stuff I can't think of right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I gotta love it. I've seen it, a million times in film school and everything. And poor horse, man.
Oh yeah,
horse.
The horse.
What's his
head.
name, like Colby or something?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So crazy.
The worst victim in the entire movie is the horse.
I love the way they shot that too, because I've seen so many shows and movies like remake that. I didn't realize that it was like, oh, you literally wake up and you're like neck to toe in blood.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my
That
goodness.
would be
very confusing and scary.
But man, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. We've got more stuff coming your way. Another in a couple of weeks, a couple episodes from now, we'll do Bone Collector.
Sounds so cool.
Another psycho thriller, big tangled web of things. So I think you guys will like it.
Can't wait. And make sure to let us know in the comments what you think of Godfather. What's your favorite part? And actually, maybe what your favorite quote is. And also, like, subscribe, and do all that other stuff. But until then, keep vibing.
Bye, guys.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode, and it was a offer that you couldn't refuse. Yeah, I know. If you did like the episode, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our videos where we come out with a new episode every single Friday. Plus, we're working on some pretty cool content that is coming your way, so you don't want to miss that, as it's coming up here on this channel very soon. We will see you in the next video, and until then, keep creating, build your brand, and go out there and tell your story.